From Universal Studios Hollywood, welcome to Home and Family.
Brighten up your day, the Home and Family way.
When we come back, we're going to sit down with fitness expert Tracey Mallett. She's been battling something very rare that has been very challenging, and she's going to talk about it for the very first time when we come back. We are back with world-renowned fitness and wellness expert Tracey Mallett. She's here sharing with us a journey she went on that changed her life. I'm going to let you. I could quickly reveal this, but tell us exactly what it was you faced. And
believe it or not, and I still can't believe it to this day, actually. I actually had a brain tumor, and to be told that you've got a brain tumor and being in such great shape, living a life of health and fitness, to be told that you've got a brain tumor, well, it was just devastating. I mean, I still feel it's very surreal now, sitting here. Sure.
How did the doctors discover you had a brain tumor?
Well, basically what happened was I've been suffering from really, really bad migraines and I remember the actual day it started, it just came, boom, it just came on just like that. And it just flew back from Turkey, which obviously the flying exacerbated it. And I had this huge migraine. Well, my mother's always suffered from it, my grandmother, my aunties, everybody's always had migraines, so I've been around it all my life. But I thought, wow, I've escaped it. And all of a sudden, it hit me, and I was like, okay, maybe it's my hormones changing, you know. So I went to see my neurologist, and she said, you know, basically, you know, all your symptoms that you're having, I'd basically have a migraine through the night. I'd wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I did not function until 1 o'clock. And many, many people suffer with migraines, and so basically she taught me how to cope with it. So I learned how to cope with it, and I actually felt pretty good, the fact that I have friends who have migraines every single day, and I had it twice a month. So I thought, if that's all I've got, I can deal with this. And I went with a positive approach to it. Continually getting them, and then finally, last year, I've been traveling a lot with the program that I have, which is Booty Barre, and teaching this program all over the world. And I'd been to Korea, I'd been to Japan, I'd been to Boston, I'd been all over the place. And then I finally ended up in England, which is my home, obviously it's where I was born, and teaching a class, and I just felt really sick, really sick. I was like, oh my God, is there a migraine coming on? It was very strange. The next thing I know, I'm toppled over, they're all around me. I said, it's okay, I've got a migraine. Cut a long story short, my mother rushed to get me, took me to ER, and I ended up being very serendipitous. I ended up being in the hospital where I was born. I live in LA, I live in Pasadena. Wow. I've lived here for 18 years. And I'm there, all my family's here, but my mother was there with me.
Sure.
They took me into ER, and I don't remember a lot of it. I was sick, vomiting, I was very dehydrated. I really didn't know what was going on. I was just like, I needed just to get something to get rid of this head, you know. And they called my mother in. They said that actually they looked at me and they looked at my eyes, which is really interesting to me. My left eye was dilated. Now, we all take a lot of photos because of what we do. So I've had tons of photos the last few years, and I kept saying to my photographer, can you airbrush out that dilation? You love the photo, but the dilation is not very good.
But you walked around with a pupil that was dilated for years?
It was a little bit bigger than the other one, and I just thought, you know, you think, well, maybe I've had it all my life and didn't realise. You know, you start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Your doctor didn't pick that up when you went to talk about
So I went to the eye doctor, and he did an examination, and he said, oh, no, you've probably had it all your life. And nothing was brought up to it. Anyway, so they did this.
Second opinion.
Yeah, well, this is my story, my end story about getting second opinions, absolutely. So they did a CT scan. It was a CT, not an MRI, it was a CT scan. They called my poor mother in to tell my mother, this is her CT scan. She's got a huge, and it was huge, a huge tumor on the left temporal, which is right here.
Oh, my goodness.
My mother was arguing with them, going, that's not my daughter, that can't be my daughter.
Well, what happens when you, and I know you're talking about this for the first time because it's recent. This is a recent.
I'm actually 4 months post.
You're 4
months.
But how, just so everybody watching, how are you now? How?
I am doing amazingly well. Going through that ordeal, you know, for like 3 weeks, going to doctors, and that's why I do truly believe second opinions, different second opinions is really important. I finally ended up at USC Hospital with Dr. Zeta, amazing, amazing doctor at USC. I cannot say, oh, they were amazing. I had a 7 hours of surgery.
Was it a difficult surgery?
It's a difficult surgery. I don't know if you have a photo of the...
We do have a photo.
I would love to show
This is
you.
the MRI
This is the MRI of the photo. And you'll see, if you look, you can see where... so that little white bit, it looks like a cabbage. You know?
Yes.
Actually, a cauliflower, should I say, not cabbage, cauliflower.
That's not a little, by the way.
No,
That
it's
little
not a
white
little.
bit. Yeah, no, that's like a...
It's behind the eye, and what was happening?
on
It was
the left
causing dizziness
picture, the
for me,
Of course.
sickness. Yeah, can you see it?
I
there?
do.
Yeah.
How can you not? My
And
goodness.
it actually, this particular tumour, basically caused a huge amount of edema on the brain. So when I was originally diagnosed in the UK, they immediately thought it had metastasized because it was such amount of edema.
Edema meaning you had a lot of water, a lot
It
of
was swollen. The brain was
okay.
swollen, which they couldn't understand why I wouldn't have any stroke or any seizures. So when I went to USC and actually did the surgery basically is they drill a hole in the skull.
Were you awake?
No, I was asleep. I was heavily sedated, thank God.
Yeah.
And then they go in, they take the tumour, and then I didn't realise this till afterwards because I didn't really want to know. And then they put the skull, they put the bit back in, and put titanium screws around.
They have... they put
Oh my goodness,
screws
look at
in-
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
and you can see.
Oh my God, bless your
I had
heart,
like, I
Tracey.
think there's about, I don't know how many staples there are there.
There's more than I care to...
Yes, my goodness.
But you know what? It's that opportunity even existed for you.
Yes.
Because without going through that.
And then we got like the results 2 days later to tell me it was a meningioma and it was benign. Thank the Lord.
Yes.
Like, it was the most surreal experience for me to actually be in a position where you feel you're the most healthiest person in the world. But then...
And you are. Look at you. And look how beautiful you are.
But then to see everything fall away from you, it's the most horrific experience. But thank God we have amazing doctors here.
Yeah.
Thank God. And truly, truly, you have to get second opinions. And you absolutely have to be vigilant about your health.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is what I wanted to ask you at the top of the show, but save it for this, is, you know, we're all eventually going to one day have to face that, but you faced the real life scenario and the question of, and needing to answer, am I going to live? Will I not make it through this? What do we take away from that? As you had that experience and tiptoed up to it and didn't know whether or not you would come out of that procedure, is there something, a grand lesson that you want others to know?
I think a grand lesson is we all race through life. We all race. We've got to get to the next day, the next thing. What's next? How about now? How about now? How about living in the moment? Life is so precious that we always want to rush to that next thing. Enjoy life. Spend time with your family, your amazing family, because we all forget. And to be actually put in that position, I am so thankful for what happened to me, because it's made me realise how lucky I am to be healthy. And you all should be healthy if you take time in your life to exercise, eat healthy, and be vigilant and ask questions. Ask questions. We're all so precious.
And so are you. Thank you so much for sharing. It was so wonderful, great of you to share this story. Thank you.
More information from Tracey, go to TraceyMallett.com. What a journey you have been on.
Thank you for sharing
Wow.
that with us.
Sorry for crying.
No, are you kidding?
I wasn't acting.
My goodness. No.
And that's
no.
part of health. You got to let it out. You got to let it out.
Yeah.